Higher time frame analysis. One of the biggest crutches for new day traders, something that I experienced when I first started out, was not analyzing the higher time frames to get a better idea of what the actual market is doing, where the trend is. Higher time frame is always going to overpower the lower time frames. Talk about some key levels and things that you can identify before the market even opens to get a better idea of where you should be placing trades as a day trader. Let's get right into it. What's going on, guys? Patrick here. If you're looking at this chart right now, you're thinking like, oh, maybe that's like a 1 minute chart, a little bull flag breakout. We got through this high over here. But wait, this is actually the daily chart. How many of you guys in the morning are actually looking at the daily chart to get an idea of what the price action is doing? I guess that, you know, a majority of people that are day trading, the first thing they do, they get on the computer, they look at the charts. It's like the 1 minute, the 5 minute, and they're like, okay, I'm getting short. And then all of a sudden the market goes straight up and you're like, why? Why did it go straight up? Well, guess what? If you're not looking at the daily chart, you're not keeping an eye on the bigger picture, the higher time frames, you're going to miss out on what is actually happening. So I love to just start out the day, daily time frame, look at the daily chart. What I want to identify, these are little things that you can identify right away. Where is the previous daily close and the previous daily high? All right, so right there, we closed on Thursday at the, right there on Thursday, the low was 236s, the high right here at this level as well. So the high on 453. All right, so if we go to the smaller time frame now, let's go to like the 15-minute chart. We basically held the overnight low. That area was the low from Thursday. We then pushed back up, 15-minute chart. We get this breakout, and look at how powerful this breakout was. At 12 o'clock, we got above the previous day high, and you can see, look at that move from the 450s all the way up there to the 615 area, 612 area. So a big move, and if you were trying to short, you know, up here in this level, you'd be like, wait, why does it keep going higher? Why does it keep going higher? Well, if you looked at the daily chart, you'd have an idea that we just broke out and we're looking pretty damn bullish. So that's one thing right away that I always want to identify, the highs and the lows of the previous days. Now, after the daily chart, I like to look at the 4-hour chart or the 1-hour chart. This is the 1-hour chart here. You can see 1-hour chart at open. We had a big squeeze back up. We get this bull flag and we're running. So think about it like this. If we break out through the high of this 1-hour candle. Big news really quickly right now, Top Step has a deal. It's $11 to sign up for the $50,000 combine, $11 for the first month, and sign up today. There's a link down below. What does that probably mean? Like, where are we probably going to go? We're probably going to go to the high here on this left of the chart. That's back there on Thursday, and test that level. So if we're breaking out here, there's a pretty high chance that we're going to push up to this 1-hour resistance there on the chart there, the 450s. And that's what we ended up exactly doing. So again, and that was what? The daily high, right? So we know if we break out here, we have the daily high here. We have the hourly resistance right there. But we know that we already started out at the daily chart and we have our high right there. Same thing with our low. Do I want to be shorting down here at the low of day from the overnight? You know, if we're down here at the lows, do I want to get short down there seeing that there's all the support there on the hourly chart? Probably not. I want to stay out of that action at that point. So this is a very clear indicator to make sure you focus on, you know, the daily chart to get your range, and then start to look at the hourly chart to see where we are inside of that range. The bulls are pushing, we're breaking, we're moving higher. So after the hourly chart, you can go to the 30-minute, you can go to the 15-minute chart. I like the 15-minute chart. We've talked about this before. You know, using the Fibonacci's on that first 15-minute candle. If we pull back, well, we pull back there into the golden pocket. The golden pocket, that 786, that 618 level, and that's pretty much like right there at the low here of that 15-minute candle, kind of right where that candle closed at. That's one thing to think about as well. You know, where does this candle close, or where did it open at? Where's the body? Don't worry about the wick so much, but look at this body of the candle. That body of the candle opened there at the 327s, and guess what? We keep on bouncing basically off of that area. The low there 22, the low there 22, on this candle 22, and then 22.75 there. So the lows of those candles basically respecting the body of this 15-minute candle. It's still a bullish move. We get the breakout here. I mean, this is just like textbook Patrick Wieland beautiful breakout setup, right? This is the higher time frame, the 15-minute chart. Again, what do we do from here? We're going to go to, let's say, the 5-minute chart. All right, we're going down to the 5-minute chart. What do we see on the 5-minute chart? Let's identify this. All right, we have this high here. We already knew there was that resistance there at this high at the 955s. Remember, we had that resistance. If we look to the left, there's some resistance there at the 86s. And then we pulled back here. I think we also had a pivot point right there at the 95s as well. So pivot points, keep those pivot points on there. We had the VWAP down there. You know, we're above the VWAP. The trend is up, up, up all morning. So we're looking for long base trades here. We're looking for a breakout over, trying to get a breakdown. If I'm looking to get a short here, I would need to basically break through this level, right? I want to get through this level. If we look at the move here, we look at this move here with the fibs, just from the low there to there. Well, we're still in a bullish kind of pullback, right? This is still a bullish pullback for a breakout. It's not bearish until we basically get down into here, and then we start to move lower. If we move down in here lower, well, then I can start looking for shorts. But basically, as long as we keep respecting this opening range, this opening breakout level that we had there at 930, well, there's no reason to get short until we start to push, right? We start to break out, well, break or push down or whatever it is. So now we're looking at the 5-minute chart. Look at the 5-minute chart. Not too clean, kind of just choppy action. These candles just not really making up their minds. We finally get the breakout here. This is that level we talked about there on Friday. We get that breakout there. Look at how much cleaner these 5-minute candles are from the 61s all the way up there to the 42s. They are 360 to 448. So about a 100-point move there. Once these candles started looking a little bit better, nice big full body candles. So again, 5-minute chart. We know there's support right here. We bounced off that level, but still we're not getting in here. We don't need to do anything. We see the chop. We see the chop. We had this little push up. We had the pullback. We're still in a bullish move. So now let's go to the 3-minute chart. What do we see in the 3-minute chart here? All right. So we're looking at the 3-minute chart. We're looking for our kind of setup here for a breakout. And well, we're basically, I was thinking we needed to get above 65 either way. If you wanted to play this two different ways, you could have probably gotten above it, gotten here at the 50s. Once we started respecting that, getting that kind of lower high here. Once we're putting in that lower high there, okay, now we got a bullish move for a breakout back up, right? Awesome, great. Now, same thing. Once you start to break out, we're like, okay, well, let's look at the 1-minute chart. What do the successful 10% of the people out there have going for them that's different from the others? Community. Hoping and praying is not a strategy. We got people in our community making $10,000 in a day. And I'm just like, we trade without risking our own money. We keep it simple and we trade the market flow.
You can have all the education in the world, but it's not enough.
All these other courses, if you don't get mentoring and guidance on a regular basis, you're going to be a 7 to 10 year journey.
There are so many people in this community that are more than willing and able to help you out.
Remember, we started out on the daily chart. Get our ideas of where those levels are. And now we are on the 1-minute chart looking for our entry, right? We're looking for our entry here. And then we start to look for the breakout. Look at this move through the 60s, up there through that high. And guess where we went to? We went to that daily high. Went to the daily high that we identified earlier in the day. So you can see how we're starting out on a high time frame. We're then moving, you know, smaller, till we finally come up with a plan where we're like, hey, if we break out, we talked about the 15-minute chart. If we break out there, make a new high on the 15-minute chart, well, then we're jumping in. You know, go back to the 15-minute chart here for this breakout level. Well, guess what? On the 15-minute chart, we can see, you know, we're not making a new high on the 15-minute chart. We're not making a new high. So what does that tell me? Well, we're not making a new high on the 15-minute chart, so we need to wait, jump in on the 1-minute chart. The first time we made a new high was right here on the 15-minute chart. It was right above this high. This 50 level, right? That was the first time we made a new high. We broke out through this candle here. So now if we go to the 1-minute chart, just to look at how that played out there, really kind of played out perfectly. That 15-minute candle not breaking above the previous 15-minute candles. When we finally broke out here, we pushed up into this level, we pulled back, we turned that level into support, and then we got that nice rocket ship move up. So really kind of level here, it's like now you're buying in here for this level for that push up, right? This is the chop, the fake out to the downside, more chop, and then we finally start moving back up. And look at how nicely this starts to trend. And guess where it went to? It went to our daily high from the previous day that we identified earlier, right? We had an hourly resistance up there. We had the daily range. We knew that level was there. Why? Because we looked at the hourly time frame. We looked at the daily time frame. We looked at the bigger picture, my friends. Start out on the big picture, right? Make your levels, find your levels, and then start to zoom in. Just so you guys can see that this is not just random, right? Just random. Let's do it for another day. Let's go back here to a day in the past, not even a bullish day, but let's just go to a day where, I don't know. Look here, just so it's not a random setup. All right, well, this is, I'm trying to find like a bearish day. Okay, we'll look at here at Wednesday, October 25th. So if this candle, right, we're looking at this chart here, we can see that there is support right there at the 710s. Now we know that there's basically the top of that range there, that candle at the 938s. And then we can see that there's a low of this candle there at the 528, right? That's 528 low right there. So now we have our levels based on the previous day action. Now, obviously this candle wouldn't have been here, but we can identify these levels based on the 2 previous days. And we can see that if we break through this level, well, we're probably gonna start to move down. And that's what we ended up doing. So now when we zoom in here, trying to make this so we zoom in there. That is Wednesday, October 25th. Let's go to the hourly chart here. All right, we're looking at the hourly chart now. So this is Wednesday, October 25th. So 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, we start to break to the downside. We break through what? The previous day low. We knew that that needed, if we break through that low, well, then it's going to be a bearish day. And look at how bearish this whole entire day was. So on the hourly chart now, obviously, you know, we're pretending that that day is not there, right? So we know that if we can't hold this level, we're probably going to move down. But we know also that where do we have the previous day low at? It's down here at the 14,500s because we identified it on the daily chart, right? We identified it on the daily chart. So now we have our plan. Okay. All right. So let's look at we're at the hourly chart here. We're going to go to the 15-minute chart and we're going to start to kind of see how this plays out, right? So if we start to break down through this low there, go to here, we're starting to break down. We're looking for basically our move through this low there from the previous day. It is now 9 o'clock. It is now 9:30, 9:45. And look at that move down. We're starting to move down. Guess what? We're chopping around here. Now we're starting to move down again. This is 11 o'clock. And look where we go to. Is it a coincidence? We went right to our low there. So let's go. Now we got our 15-minute chart. Go to the 5-minute chart to get our kind of entry set up here. 5-minute chart. We broke right through the low there at 9:30. We get a short from that low down here to the 612s. Let's say you didn't get that short right out of the gates. That's fine, but still 100-point move straight down. Guess what? Look at the 5-minute chart. Chop, 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 choppy, right? Just chopping around here. How do we try to avoid that chop? We go to the 15-minute chart here and look at the 15-minute chart. If we're looking for a short to the downside, it's like kind of just chopping action. Had a little bit of a fake out below this low there, the 605s right there. So a little bit of a fake out. It happens. You're going to have those little fake outs. But basically at that point, we didn't get to break the downside. We start to push back up. So how do we stay out of this from a short perspective? Well, we don't want to get short until we kind of break through, I would say, you know, make the kind of candle to close below the previous low of the candle, which none of these candles really did. This one even, yeah, really none of these candles closed below the previous candle there. So this candle right here finally didn't really even close below the low there. Just didn't. So we can look here. Okay, we finally closed below that low 591s there. Let's just identify that to see if there would have been a trade at that level. So we're going to the 5-minute chart here. Okay, 5-minute chart. We're looking still just not that beautiful. We do get the breakdown there, but we start to see we get this kind of pullback up into that resistance. Obviously, you know, you're not always going to be 100%. The win rate is not 100% always. It's just how it is trading. So you can see here, we push back up. We turn that 591 level into resistance, and then we sold back down. So if we go to the 1-minute chart, we can see basically chop, chop, chop city in this level. A lot of range, just chopping, 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 not getting up above the highs. and starting to finally break to the downside there. And guess what? We turned this previous area of 590 level into resistance, and then we sold down to the lows that we identified there on the daily chart. So where do we start at? We start on the daily chart, and then we start to move on down from there, right? We're starting out on the daily chart. We're finding our levels. Go to the hourly chart. Go to the 15-minute chart. Go to the 30-minute chart. We go to the 5-minute. We go to the 3-minute. We go to the 1-minute. And then we get our moves. So we're looking for those higher time frame setups and then zooming in to a smaller time frame, my friends. There it is. If you guys want to learn more, hit that subscribe button, the like button, all the buttons down below. I'll talk to you guys later on.